Hi guys, welcome back to Lux Wise. As you can see right now, I'm coming to you a little bit different. My hair is in a ponytail, my glasses are on, I got my notebook out, and that is because it's a serious topic. Just for you guys who might not remember, my name is Crystal, and I am one half of the Lux Wives group. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about my IVF journey. And, oh, wait a minute, this is a fashion channel. You come here to see what I'm wearing. So let me show you what I'm wearing. I just have on this little kimono that I picked up from a boutique on Magazine Street a couple of years ago. And some loungewear. Child, this is not gonna be no real luxy Lux-wise video. This is getting down to the nitty-gritty and stuff that's really hard to talk about. One of the reasons I wanted to just go over 5 things I wish I had known before I went down the journey of IVF is, first of all, I feel like a lot of Black women don't talk about IVF. And I know a lot of women are struggling with infertility, and that is not kind of centered in one demographic, but all I noticed was when I was doing my journey and my research, all the offices we went to, they have like boards of the little babies up there that they've held to give birth to and everything, and I didn't see very many African American babies. I'm in an interracial relationship. I didn't even see little interracial babies. It was, I'll just go ahead and be honest, I saw more Caucasian women, and I really think that it's a stigma in the Black community sometimes to talk about infertility and the struggles of getting pregnant. And then I also think it's a resource issue. Infertility and IVF are so expensive, and a lot of people do not have insurance coverage for it. And so those are just some of the things I noticed. And then I had one friend who had done it, and it wasn't something like she broadcast and wanted to talk about all the time, so I didn't really ask a whole bunch of questions. And then I had, maybe one other friend who had like suffered miscarriage after miscarriage and had really had a rough journey with trying to get pregnant. And, that wasn't something we went into great detail about either when we would get on the phone. And I respect everybody's, privacy. The only people I knew that were like super vocal about telling me they had done IVF and about their journey were like my coworkers and stuff. And I was kind of like, oh, do I ask? What do I do? So one of my good friends, hey Noelle, we were on FaceTime the other day, and we were both talking about how we don't see a lot of people that look like us talking about it. So they want to come on here and just do like 5 things I just wish I had known about before I started down that journey. Y'all don't talk about my hair. All right, number 1, it's an extremely long process. So I thought when I said, okay, we're gonna do IVF, it was gonna be like you go in, they run some tests, and then boom, they're gonna start showing you shots, and like everything is just gonna start happening. That's not the case. Everything is based upon your cycle. And then if I just even back up before that, when we got to the point where we decided we needed to seek help was, we've been married now for 3 years, and we had been trying for 2 years to get pregnant. So a year before getting married and a year into our marriage, and had no missed calls, nothing. And so, after the 2 years, they, at a certain age, they tell you, you really need to go and like get checked out and see like if you can get some help. And so, we did that, and There are a number of tests they have to run on you first. They look at FSH and I think it's HGC. I will correct myself somewhere around here if that's not the right one. They basically look at your ovarian reserve to see how many eggs you got left, for better words. And they test the sperm count. And, after that point, they start looking at your fallopian tubes to see if your fallopian tubes are all the way open. That's a very painful test. They do a lot of looking at your uterus, your uterine lining, your ovaries, a lot of scans. And this is not all something they can do in like 1 month, or you could just like schedule your appointment and boom, pop on in and get it done. No, that's like everything's going to be done based upon your cycle. So they'll do one test and you'll get the results back, and then they'll say, hey, we want to test you for this, and we have to wait till your day 1 or whatever of your cycle the next month. And so you're sitting here like, damn, I didn't know it was going to be this many tests. And then in addition to that, if you have insurance coverage, a lot of the times doctors will try to push you to try out IUI first, which is intrauterine insemination. It's basically like you take some pills to stimulate your ovaries, and then they take your husband's sperm or your partner's sperm and they wash it. And because apparently I wash it, they're dirty, I don't know. And then they inject you with his semen, and they put the semen right in your uterus so they don't have far to travel. They can't get tripped up. They can't fall down, hurt themselves, whatever. I don't know what they're doing there. But yeah, they'll try to get you to do that first if you have insurance coverage, which we were fortunate we did. And we did that twice and nothing happened. So that was a huge letdown. And then after that, we said, okay, we're ready to move on to doing IVF. And we thought, start your shots and get everything rolling. No, it's a whole nother round of tests that they're gonna have to do. It's gonna take you a little while to get through all the tests. They want to do genetic testing to see if you're a carrier of anything. So, or you and your husband are both carriers of anything. There's also a STD test, even if you're married, and that's because they're transferring, bodily fluids from one person to another. So it's a lot of tests. And then after you do your shots for your, your 12 days or so, and you go in like every other day and they all up in your business and they taking blood, they roaming around in your stuff, and they take your eggs out, then it's some more waiting because they have to see how many viable eggs they got. Then they combine them with the sperm and they have to make the embryos. Then you got to wait 5 days to see who makes it to blastocyst stage. And then after you see which one of your embryos makes it, then if you wanted to do PGS testing, which is pre-genetic screening, that is where they take a little small sample of your embryo and they send it off somewhere to count the chromosomes to see, if that will even be a viable pregnancy or not, because everybody doesn't have all their chromosomes, even though they might look like really good embryos. And they do that, and then that's another 6 to 8 weeks. So, the whole, months have gone by, and you've told people, hey, yeah, we're going to start IVF, so the people are like, why aren't you pregnant yet? Then, when they come back and give you the results of who's going to make it, and who's A-team, and who's a boy, and who's a girl, they start prepping you for a transfer. And prepping for a transfer has to be done based upon your cycle. And so you have to wait to get your period, and then you have to go on a whole bunch of more shots again. And then they'll throw the eggs in you, and then you wait some more. So it's a long, drawn-out process, y'all. So thing number 2 that I wish I had known was there are 101,000 trillion million, I don't even effing know, acronyms for this process. I just probably threw out some, and you probably sitting here like, what is she? I don't know what that is. What's she talking about? Just join a support group. Joining a support group was the best thing I could have done. I just joined like a Facebook support group for women in my area that were doing IVF. So a lot of the girls like were even at the same clinic as me. And funny thing is, you know, I'd be talking to some of these girls online, and then I go in for my appointment, and I'd be like, hey girl, I don't know you. So just, you join a support group, and a lot of the times they have all the materials there for you with all the acronyms, like crazy stuff like pregnant until proven otherwise. I was like, what? Okay. Number 3, no matter how strong your relationship is, like, I mean, you and your significant other, your partner, your husband, you could be rock solid. I mean, we've known each other since I was in high school. No matter how strong your relationship is, it will be tested during this process. And it will be tested because, one, you are on all the hormones in the world. And I had some shots that my husband said turned me into Beetlejuice, because I would take the shot and it was like, it was showtime. Like, I might cry, I might want to fight, you know, I don't know. I might want to eat. You know, it just, you're on a lot of hormones. You're very emotional. You getting stuck in the stomach in the morning and in the evening, plus taking pills, plus going to the doctor every other day. They're taking blood. Your arms are bruised up. You're mentally exhausted. And, you know, it's a lot. It's a long journey. It's a lot of stuff you got to talk about. And your relationship will be tested. Your relationship will be tested due to financial reasons too. Even if you have insurance coverage, which we did, there's still a lot of out-of-pocket costs. And another thing they won't tell you is they give you like your out-of-pocket costs up front after they talk to your insurance and everything. You write them a check. You think, oh, I'm done. All right, cool, done. That's all I'm going to have to pay. And then after they start billing your insurance for your procedures, and your insurance is like, oh, well, we're not going to cover this. And, oh, well, no, you know, we'll only cover a certain percentage of that. Then it hits you with more bills. And you like, hold on. So then they were like, well, that was an estimate. It's an estimate. That's like I went to McDonald's, and McDonald's was like, give me $500 for an estimate of what you might eat here. What the? Yeah. Number 4, demand that they run every test possible on your husband too, because they focus so much on the woman. And I hear this over and over and over. The people I talk to who have done IVF, they had every test under the sun, and they like tested their husband's sperm count like one time. And I was like, what? You want to demand he get genetic testing along with you to see if you're a carrier of anything. You know, you both might be a carrier of something very serious, and you might want to both have a discussion around, do we want to spend this money and use our own eggs, or do we want to, you know, use donor eggs or donor sperm, or do we want to adopt? Some people have to have that hard discussion. Make sure they test his testosterone too. You know, men's testosterone tends to take a dip in their 30s, and it's something men don't even notice. They're just like, you know, they're not feeling as energetic as they once were, and there's nothing wrong with them physically. Everything else is like still good, but it's something that can play a part into sperm production. You also want them to check the morphality of your husband's sperm, because he can have a high sperm count but low morphality is the term, I believe. I'm not a doctor. Just that disclaimer. I'm a chemical engineer. I am not a doctor. So some of the stuff I might have said wrong. But low morphality is something they also can check to see if the semen has the perfect shape to even, help penetrate and get into an egg, which is like, what? Semen come with different shapes. Yeah, girl. Some of them got little jacked up heads. Some of them, they square shape. I don't know. I don't know. And then last but not least, but probably the most important, number 5, be careful about sharing your journey. Now, I chose to be open about my journey the first time we did IVF. And, I just didn't know how much of a risk that was. And my husband was the one that kept being like, let's not even tell people. Let's not go into any details. But I was really excited. And I was really excited because you get attached to your embryos. Because imagine this, like, people don't even have an attachment to a baby 9 times out of 10, like, until they know they're pregnant. Until they've missed a period, they get a positive pregnancy test, they go and see a heartbeat, something. They have no attachment to a baby. You are attached to those babies from them being a follicle, because you watch them. So you watch them on ultrasound during stimulation process where they're stimulating your ovaries, and you're watching them as a follicle. So you're thinking of them as people. And then when they become an embryo, you're really thinking of them as little people. And, you grow really attached to them, so you're cheering them on. And we chose to share our journey, mainly because I was out of work so much, so I had to, tell my work group I was a crazy person. I didn't want anybody to think I was on drugs. And I'm not even really sure why we told family members. Probably shouldn't have done that. Probably won't do that again. But, and people are very ignorant about IVF. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. They just don't know. They've had their babies naturally, so they don't know anything about this. So you find yourself constantly explaining about what part of the journey you're at. And, you get people that are like, oh, just relax. And, oh, it's in God's hands. And, oh, it'll be all right. And then, you really got the ones that say hurtful shit like, oh girl, I was so miserable pregnant and I hated being pregnant. And it's like, stop it. Stop telling me about what you hate about your children and you hated being pregnant, and I'm over here struggling and taking all these shots and having everybody in the world, up in my business. And it's just, people say really insensitive things to you during the process. And then, you've all heard that wise tale about not telling people about being pregnant until you have crossed that 3-month threshold. And unfortunately for us, we did conceive twins through IVF, but I ended up miscarrying, which was rough. Just telling people that you miscarried, because sometimes people get invested in your journey too, and they cheering the little babies on too. My camera is so rude. It just decided to cut off on me. So like I was saying, if you're struggling with infertility, just know that you're not alone out there. You're not broken as a woman. And it is, most importantly, it's not just you. So that's important to remember. But go ahead, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at LuxWise, and I'll see you next time. Bye.